how to bust through a plateau in your business growth. Now, every one of our journeys is different. Maybe you have just been like skyrocketing, like going up, 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 right? Maybe it took a little while before you went up, whatever it is. What I want to talk about today is maybe you've finally experienced an up, 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 like momentum, and then it feels like you got steady. Maybe you thought, oh, we're consistent. Maybe you even thought, maybe we've maxed out our market. Like maybe this is just how big we're going to get, right? Maybe you've been stuck for a few months or a few years. It is not uncommon for me to hear things like, well, we've been stuck at that like 675. Like it just doesn't seem like we can go past it, right? Like I don't know if we're maxed out or I don't know what, if we have the wrong model, but we just can't seem to like go past 700K and I really want to hit a million, right? So maybe that's you. Or maybe you've been there in the past. Okay. I have never had a business that was just doing this. As much as I would love to say that and love to have that be my experience, I've had ups and downs. And I've had like the straight line for a long time, right? Where I'm wondering these things like, do I have what it takes to go to the next level? Did I pick the wrong industry? Did I pick the wrong model, right? So I want to make sure you know. Now, one mistake that I made many years ago was when my studios hit the $1 million mark. Okay. We stayed there for a while and I actually didn't think I had plateaued. I thought, oh, this might be what the 5 mile radius around us is going to produce. And maybe we've capped, like maybe we've topped out at the $1 million mark. It was one of the reasons I started a second location because I thought, oh, if I want to grow, I'm going to have to add more locations, right? And now, many years later, that one location is doing more than a million, right? So it really was a plateau that I just didn't realize. And I thought this could be a really good episode today because you might be there and not realize you're even stuck, right? So that was a really, really big thing for me. And I completely had it wrong because we busted through that number. It is proven that we weren't capped, right? So sometimes I will say the plateau over the last 21 years, sometimes the plateau feels nice, right? Sometimes growing like crazy is exhausting. And when you finally plateau, you're like, ah, I can breathe. Like there's a sense of relief of like, okay, like let's just take a minute, right? And I'll tell you this, sometimes business owners unknowingly sabotage and stay plateaued because they can finally catch their breath, right? And you really want to ask yourself, am I nervous about the next level? What's stopping me? What's holding me back, right? Things like that. So for me, I do use a plateau to take a moment to catch my breath, like, right, deep breath in, to recharge, to maybe get clearer on where I want to go next. Like, what's the next goal? You know, if I've plateaued, am I on my way to a milestone? Am I at the milestone? Like at the $1 million mark, I had kind of thought I crossed the finish line. Like I was like, we did it. Yay, we're here. Right. Versus like thinking I needed a break. It was just like, that's just what I kind of had in me. Right. Now, I know if you were here with me, right, and somebody would be able to like ask questions, somebody would say to me, but Stacy, how long do you stay in a plateau? Right? If you are really catching your breath, like if you're tired, like how long should I stay there? Like I've been here for however long, right? Now, I think it's different every time. Okay. I have been in business for over 21 years. It'll be 22 years this summer. Okay. And there have been many times that I've plateaued. And I think it has to do with the season that you're in, right? The season that my kids are in, the stages, like how old they are, right? Was I in a season of kind of feeling lost, right? Like feeling uninspired? Or was I in a season where I was like, fully motivated, back on, mission is like let's go, game on, right? I just kind of gave myself in every moment what I needed, right? But here's what I will tell you. I do think it's important to rest, to recharge. But I've seen plateaus, especially when we're doing our initial consultation to see if you're a good fit for well oiled. Sometimes I'll hear things like, well, we've been stuck, and they know it. Like, we've been stuck at 500 for 3 years. Like, we are not growing, right? But people keep wanting raises. So my profit's sinking, right? They are fully aware they have plateaued and they know they could be doing more. They're just not. I do think it's really, really dangerous to willingly stay in a season of being stuck, right? For months, for years. I think it's too long. And I think it can be really, really dangerous. Okay. Now, I also think you have to be clear on what you want because let's say you build a business to 3 million and life just feels great. Like you love it. You're like, I could stay here, right? This feels good. Like I don't really need to hit 5 million, Stacy. I feel great. Okay, great. Then I would still figure out a plan for small growth. Okay. So if you love what 3 million feels like, don't shoot for 4, but shoot for like a little bit better than 3. And the reason I say that is people take any number, any milestone for granted. Okay. I've seen people hit a million and then just think they're entitled to a million. And then their numbers go down. Have you ever been at a business before, like you bought from a business and all of a sudden things are tanking? Like something's off, right? Maybe they changed the management. Maybe the food's starting to go downhill. It's like a new chef. They have like this horrible receptionist that you cannot even stand going in there because she's just so rude, right? Whatever it is, and you start seeing go downhill. And then at some point, they're either like non existent, right? They're just not really getting a lot of business, or they're just gone, right? And I think it's because sometimes we get complacent and sometimes we think, this feels good. I just want to stay here. I think it's Tony Robbins that says, like, you're either growing or you're dying, right? Even somebody trying to maintain 3 million, like, that's not easy, right? Maintaining $3 million is going to take work, right? And that is something I think we forget, right? So if you need a break, that's one thing, right? If you're working too much, that's one thing. I would say build out your team more and you wouldn't have to do that, right? Maybe you're just overworked and you're not actually building a team of leaders around you that can help. Okay. Now, what I want to share is if you saw how hard my 21, almost 22-year-old business works to stay at the top of the market, if you saw the new ideas we were coming up with on a monthly basis, the new marketing initiatives we're doing, right? How we're constantly proposing like new enhancements, right? You would be shocked. And before it sounds like, oh, but I don't want to work that hard. Okay. Guys, I'm not working in that business. Those things are happening without me. Okay. Collectively, the team is working on those things, but I didn't say I was working on those things. Right. So if you're looking at me thinking, I want to do what you're doing, but you don't have those people in place, we've got to get those people in place. Right. So if your business has been stagnant, and you really want to bust through this next plateau, or maybe you really haven't been stagnant, but you want to go big, you want to go far, you want to go fast. I've got 6 strategies that I want you to consider. Number 1, do you have the right business model? Okay. You may have maxed out or capped the way you're doing things currently. Do you need to rework your model? Okay. So we used to think at our studio that we were full Monday through Thursday and evenings and Saturday mornings. And we would say we were maxed out. And then I remember I heard a studio was open on Friday nights. And I was like, what? Who's booking Friday nights? Right. And I realized, like, okay, we're not maxed out. Right. I had a limiting belief that was stopping me from being open on certain days. So we actually opened back up on Sundays. We opened back up on Fridays. And we started to fill. So be careful that you don't have a limiting belief that's holding you back, right? Or maybe you need to add more locations. Maybe you need to get your current space in a bigger space, right? So trust me, I've yet to see somebody really max out their business. There's always another bigger area, another bigger opportunity, but you might not have the right business model today. Number 2, talk to other business owners outside of your industry and get inspired. Okay. I will tell you this. Sometimes I see maybe the dentist hanging out with the dentists, right? The dance studio owners all going to the dance studio conference. The landscapers hanging out with the other landscapers. Okay. Now, I like that and I do that. I don't go to those events, but my sister goes to dance studio only events. But that is just one thing she's doing. She's also going to like outside, like she's mixing it up. In fact, we actually send my sister to our well-oiled deep dive events. Okay. And I will tell you this, when you get in the room with other people in different industries, you're like, I wonder if I could take that strategy and put it in this business. Like, that's interesting. Okay. And here's what I love about this. So somebody actually just told me, I had said to them, have you heard of this one program? I feel like you should buy that program. And she goes, oh, we did buy that program. But then, and it worked for like the first year, but then everybody in our area bought that program. And I was like, we were running the same ads. We were the same business. Like we did not stand out. And I was like, yeah. Does that make sense? So if you're the, let's say, dance studio owner going to the dance studio conference and your competitors are going there too, you're all running the same 6-week ballerina promo. And it's like, how do I stand out with my ads if we're all doing it, right? But when I'm in a room with like somebody in karate or a landscaper and I hear about this promotion, I'm like, huh, that's kind of cool. I wonder if I could take a spin on it, right? So the reason I say don't just hang out with your current type of businesses is because it's really hard to stand out when you're all hearing the same ideas. Don't stay stuck in just your industry. Get inspired from all the other business owners out there. Number 3, really remembering why you're doing this, right? Sometimes I am personally plateaued and the business follows. Like if I'm in a funk, the business will be in a funk. Okay. I've actually noticed when I'm my healthiest, the business is its healthiest. It's really weird. I don't think it's a coincidence, right? So sometimes my why has changed. And if you aren't even recognizing, right, like what I want or what I'm going for, all of that, right? And you're not like motivated anymore, that's why, right? So you may need to get re inspired. You might have to get new goals, new ideas, like recharge, right? That might be all your business needs. It might not be that the business is in a rut, it might be you've been in a rut. You're not bringing that energy. Okay. I will tell you, when I come back from a vacation, I am so motivated to get back to work, right? If you're never vacationing, you might just be burnt out. You might literally need to take a vacation, like a staycation could even help you. Just take a break from the business itself. Number 4, do you have too much on your plate? So I've actually seen plateaus happen because the business has bitten off way more than it can chew. And then there's a lot of mediocre work happening. It's like, oh, they have this and they have that and they have this and they have that and this promotion and that promotion. And everything's just like B minus C plus level work, right? And if they scrapped, 80% of what they were doing and focus on the 20%, it would literally be A plus work. And people would say, okay, I'm interested in that. Right. So, like, I see this a lot. You're not making enough money. You're like, I need a second location. And it's like, hold up. Your first location is not systematized. It's fully reliant on you. It's not profitable. In what world does $0 times 2 locations make money? It doesn't. Right. So, if you're not happy and you're adding more to your plate, it's probably not a great solution. Okay. It actually may be time for you to let go, right? I've seen people have to let go of locations, let go of certain services, right? Things that they expanded that's just, it's not working. The market doesn't want it, right? Don't let your ego stand in the way. Our egos are like, no, my idea was amazing. I'm fighting for it. And it's like, how long does it have to not sell or tank the rest of the business before you realize it? So it may be time to let go of certain products, certain programs, services, certain revenue streams. And I know sometimes we get nervous of like, oh man, it brought in 40,000 last year. I don't want to let go of that. But what is it costing you to keep it on your plate? Because the thing that actually brought in a lot of money could have brought in more, but you've been distracted by a $40,000 revenue stream. Number 5, this is the opposite. So be careful. Okay. Number 5 is it time for new services, right? Is it time for the new location? Is it time for fill in the blank? I honestly almost didn't put number 5 in here. And it's because for most of you, this is not the problem. I have worked with so many business owners. It is rare that I say, let's add some like fresh stuff in here. Typically, I'm like, whoa, you've got 72,000 ideas. Let's actually pick like the 4 you want to implement and do it. Okay. But I have to say it because maybe you've been in business for 20 years and you've been selling the same old that everybody knows, right? And they are looking for something fresh. They are looking for something new from you, right? So if you are systematized and everything's under control, if that's you, okay, it may be time to like spark something new, freshen it up a little bit, right? So just something to think about. So do you have something that the market wants from you right now that you have the manpower to actually step in and fulfill it at the level of what you're currently doing? Okay. And then number 6, this is a big one, improving your leadership skills. So this is not one many people turn to. But here's what I want you to understand. First of all, if you're burnt out, nobody on a team wants a burnt out leader. Another thing to consider is your team burnt out? I have seen this. So we let team members come into well-oiled. So we don't just work with the owner, we work with some of their team members. And sometimes the team is just like, they're exhausted, they're overworked, they're not valued, they're not appreciated. The boss is so busy, they don't even understand what they're doing or value what they're doing. and like everybody's just miserable, right? And thankfully, like well-oiled kind of resparks that leadership, like not even respark. Sometimes it sparks it for the first time. They're like, oh, I'm supposed to be motivating and coaching and helping? Oh, okay. Yeah. I didn't know that. Okay, good to know, right? So sometimes guys, our people are in a rut. The group is in a rut. The entire team is in a rut, right? And learning leadership skills as a CEO is invaluable. And I will tell you, I find myself coaching all day long, right? That is one of the biggest skill sets I have is I am coaching my team. So when I was a baby entrepreneur, like many, many years ago, when somebody wasn't performing, I either ignored it because I didn't want to have to tell somebody that I liked to their face they weren't doing well. B, I would just like maybe eventually fire them. And I never thought to like really coach and pour in. I would judge them. I would say, they don't get it. Like they're not getting it. They're just not proactive. Like, why are they not figuring this out? And I would either like be resentful and like let them stay, or I would fire them. Okay. But today, when I see an underperformer, I'm going, where can I support them? What do they need from me? And I pour into them and then I watch, are they taking the coaching, right? I'm only going to let somebody go if they're not coachable, but I'm going to coach them through it, right? And here's what I'll tell you. If the business is plateauing, you might be working on yourself. Like you're listening to a podcast right now. Like you're maybe watching this on YouTube, right? You are investing in yourself, in your time, right? But if your team isn't investing in themselves, if you're not investing in them, right? They say like you're as strong as your weakest link, right? So are you helping your weakest link? Are you helping your A player, right? You need to be coaching. And if you just said, I'm not going to do anything this week, but help the people on my team get stronger, you're going to bust through a plateau. So today, one of the things I do on a weekly basis, so every Monday, I'm looking at KPIs, key performance indicators in every department. And I could go deeper and look at every person, but I really just look at the department and I only go further if there's like a major problem in that department. But when I see the problem, I'm like, marketing, what's going on? Let's dig into the marketing KPIs. Oh, okay. This person, they need help. What's happening here, right? And I'm going to fix the biggest constraint every single week. So if you're too busy getting in the business and you're not working on the business, I'm not surprised you're in a plateau, right? Because you're just on a hamster wheel that you can't get off. And you are trying desperately, right, to maybe make more money or get your time back or both. But you're here a year or two or three or five later, and you're like, nothing's changing. So understand the stronger your team is, the more we collectively win. It is possible you're at a plateau because the people around you are at a plateau, and it's not their fault. You are the leader. You need to take ownership as the CEO and support them. Now, if you're finding this video valuable so far, can you hit the like button? We are really working on our YouTube, and it would mean so much to us. And then today, I want you to think about where your business is. Are you climbing? Are you climbing up that mountain? Are you falling down the mountain? Have you been consistent? Are you plateauing? Are you stuck? Right? And maybe you never realized that that might not be the safest place to be. So I would look at each of these 6 strategies and ask yourself which one is right for you. So comment below and let me know if you've ever experienced a plateau in your business. I'd love to hear it. And I think other business owners would too, because I think people are embarrassed to say like, I'm stuck. I don't know why, but I can't pass a million. Like what's happening? And then you go, oh, everybody else goes through this too. Oh, okay, cool. I'm not broken. There's nothing wrong with me. So comment below and let's just build this community so that everybody is aware this is normal. But if you're anything like me, you don't want to be the norm. You want to bust through it. So let's make that happen. Make sure to subscribe for more trainings, helping you streamline and scale your business, and you'll be on your way to becoming a well-oiled operation very soon.